Part here. It's a good environment.
We want to set up here today to kind of showcase the community.
Are you trading up just because you want to have that high-end card to sell, or you just want to hold it just to have it?
But is it prospecting or are we
Gambling?
Is it gambling? I took the perspective of I need to get to know more people and like have conversations with them.
This is one of the things like, oh, you want to make this deal? I'll put you on my video. Like, nah, I'm okay.
Y'all ready for Dr. Strange? Just a question. Are you ready, bro?
See, and then he had it signed by him.
No, when they cut Darth Maul in half, I literally yelled out, "No!"
If I would have known BGS has more value long-term wise, I think I would have went that route.
But do you have certain cards that you know you're going to hold on to?
Yeah, FD, man. I'm in it for the long term.
What's up, everybody? 2023. JD is going to be here in a little bit, but we have a special guest today that I've been wanting to get on with for quite a while now, and I'm glad that at the beginning of 2023, we're going to be able to have him on. I want to invite the Reverend.
What's going on, FD? Rolling
on, man?
FD.
Good to have you here, sir.
Hey, man, I'm glad to be here, man. I've been looking forward to this day. I've been watching the podcast, Rolling with FD, been watching many of your YouTube clips, and JD and I have become kind of friends related to some of the things that I do. And hey, I'm just glad to hang out with you guys for a few hours.
Well, it's good to have you here, sir. It's good to have you here. What have you been up to today? How's your day been?
Well, today, of course, I'm bivocational pastor again, and we had 2 services. One this morning. We're pretty much setting the stage for the year. The message is building back better on a well-built foundation. We know how COVID has really impacted the world, but it has had a significantly negative effect on the church. And so I am kind of trying to get that where it needs to be. And then this afternoon, I went to one of the sister churches, and they had a men's day. And really and truly, when it comes down to it, society, the church, our communities, our country, we need men to kind of become, kind of get on board and be the leaders instead of just followers.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, everybody out there should know that the Reverend puts in work on a consistent basis.
I think that's one of the things raised by my mother and my grandmother. My mother told me something, FD, early in life. She said, all the world owes you is a chance, and it depends on what you do with that chance. And so I'm just trying to do all I can, not only with my family, but also paying it forward with young men, working with football programs at the local university, and working with the new program that I'm giving birth to probably within the next month, called the Buck Ministry, BUC, Brothers Under Construction. Because hey, we're all trying to grow and be better for our families, for our community, and that's pretty much what it's all about for me.
Now, give everybody some background in your involvement with young people in sports.
Okay, well, I served. I played sports early in my life, and being only 200 pounds, I knew that wasn't going to go too far playing lineman at the next level. So yeah. I decided to educate my mind and get a degree in economics, and worked for a pharmaceutical company. And then I began to serve on the board as East Texas Baptist University, and we had a tragedy that took place. 2 young men drowned, and it's almost like I was challenged by the fact that, okay, what are you going to do about it? How are you going to impact the lives of young men? So I began a program at the university called Rapping with the Reverend. So it's an opportunity for me to go on the field after practice and provide them some guidance on relationships, on responsibilities, on religion, their relationship with the Lord, but also have an opportunity in inject some of the things that I received in my earlier years, being raised by a single mom. And it really has been impactful. It has helped me stay young.
Okay.
But it's also, I have a son who's 28 and a daughter who's 25, and our son, he's into Pokemon. he's big time. And so he and I still have a great relationship. Every 2 years we go deep sea fishing, and he's out at the house a lot. And so I personally believe that what we have to do is take our life experiences and find young men or young women, because unfortunately we have a lot of young women that don't have strong men in their lives. And so that's something that I do. In fact, I talk to a lot of young people at the card shop, using my ministry and my love for sports cards to just open some avenues of conversation, because one of the things that I have learned is that people don't really care how much you know until they know how much you care. So that's really been my big focus. And I saw one young man who was on the football program, and I had to pick up a rental, and he came up to me and say, Rev, do you don't remember me? And I really didn't. When you're dealing with 150 football players, you really don't. But he began to talk to me about how those times after practice impacted him. And it was just good to hear, because a lot of times you don't hear that after you've invested. So that just encouraged me more.
We got Big John here that says, nice to see you, Reverend.
What's going on, Big John? It's good to see you guys.
Pro the Bench says, legend. My girlfriend April says, welcome to the show, Reverend.
Hey, April, I know you got a good guy.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. C-Dubs Car says, hey, FD, how's it going? How you doing, C-Dubs? We got Ray-Bans saying, what's up? So you've been keeping up with sports, right? What do you think is about to happen in the NFL playoffs?
I personally believe that the momentum that the Bills have might find up seeing them in the Super Bowl. I just think that the momentum.
I watched most of that game. They look fired up.
Yeah, I think the one thing that I'm concerned about when you play, and having been a sports, when you're playing on adrenaline, many times you can be so up that the next time you play, you don't have that energy and that fire, because you're playing for DeMar, and you can be surprised, because in the playoffs anything can happen. But I could potentially see the Bills in the Super Bowl. Today I didn't watch it. I just kind of watched the highlights. As you know, the Cowboys are the Cowboys.
They got handled. They got handled for that. I saw the score, and I looked the game up because I didn't watch it, and I was like, "Oh, did Dak play today? Yeah, Dak played today."
Yeah. And I think the one thing that I'm seeing the 49ers with Purdy, and their defense has always been strong, and it's almost as if Christian McCaffrey has a new life. I mean, he seems to be the C-Mac that we remembered his first couple of years. Yeah. He's not being asked to carry the team, but he definitely brings a different weapon, or an additional weapon, with Debo and with Kittle. Purdy doesn't have to do a lot, but he's really impressing me for being basically Mr. Irrelevant.
I agree. He puts the ball in the right place, doesn't take chances.
Exactly.
He doesn't stare down his receivers. Those are all positive things you want to see from a young player, just taking the reins on something. So I think if he can, stay the course, 49ers go far. Debo's going to be back soon. Probably the next time they play in the playoffs, Debo will be back. So it'll be interesting.
And I think when it comes down to the Chiefs, it's all going to be dependent on Mahomes, I mean, really and truly, whether or not he's continues able to spread the ball and their defense. I mean, their defense looks very good right now.
Yeah.
But, you know, when they come up against, I mean, they get a bye week and then if they have an opportunity to play the worst of the team that's left. But, I mean, you look at the Chargers, if they get by first round, and you look at the Bengals, which they should get by the first round, and then you look at the Bills, they should get by first round. I mean, it's a toss-up after that. I mean, because any four of those teams, I mean, could actually be the representative for the AFC.
I agree. I think we're sitting here right now, probably the first time in several years, where we really don't know who's going to win the Super Bowl. And we don't know exactly who's going to be playing in that game.
Right. And you know, when you look at over in the NFC, I mean, Minnesota is up and down. The Cowboys, of course, they're up and down. 49ers right now look the best, but as bad as they have looked throughout the year, you cannot count out the GOAT when it comes down to the playoffs. I mean, you just can't.
The game today with a lead. They didn't win, but he left the game today with a lead.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing. Sports, unlike a lot of other things, bring us together. You know, cross-culturally, brings us together. And whether it's basketball, whether it's football, and we'll talk a little bit about the Warriors a little bit. But when it comes down to the playoffs, you can actually see that a lot of teams have become very close.
Yes.
And if you don't protect the ball, you could possibly be behind by 14 points before you get out of the first quarter.
Yes, sir. Very true. A lot of parity in sports right now.
Correct.
Especially when you go over to the NBA. I mean,
I looked at the NBA and looked at the standings, and I mean, all the way down to the 10th seed. I mean, if they win 2 games, they're like 6th. I mean, it's so close. There's no team in the NBA that really is a dominant team. I mean, if you think about where the Lakers were at the beginning of the year, now they're pushing for the 6th or 7th seed. I mean, it just shows you that it's a long season, and you have to have skilled players. We know that, and that's what bothers me or concerns me about teams like what's going on, JD?
What's up, y'all?
We get the Reverend in the house.
Who is that? Is that who I think it is? That guy. What's up, y'all? Sorry, I'm a little late.
But yeah, FD, that's what concerns me of teams like Memphis and teams like New Orleans. Yeah, they have some superstars and they have some young talent. But you know, when the playoffs roll around, it's a whole different animal when the playoffs roll around.
Totally different situation. JD, we were just talking about the NBA. We're talking about parity in sports overall. We were talking about football at first. Now we're talking about basketball, and then you could be 11 seed or 6 seed. There's only a few games separating you. Right now, Golden State is, I think, the 6th seed. And then they have the worst record, worst road record in basketball.
That's not looking good.
But don't think they won't get one for the thumb though.
Well, I think they have a team concept, and they're doing it the right way. They don't bring in what you would call superstar players. I mean, we know they brought in Durant. I mean, that's a given. I mean, and that made a big difference for those 2 rings that they won. Yeah. But overall, I mean, even you go back when Kobe won that last title, I mean, he didn't have a whole bunch. I mean, he had Gasol and he had some other pieces, but they played as a team. And I think that's what makes a difference in the NBA. If you don't play as a team, one player, I mean, and that's what concerns me. I know I've heard you guys talk about it, FD. Luka. I mean, Luka is amazing. I mean, but
some people act like that there are no concerns, but there are concerns. Did you see the video the other day when they asked him, "Do you plan to play as long as LeBron?"
He said, "No way."
No, he's like, nah.
I've been playing since I was 13, 14. We won't be doing that.
You know what people forget about Luka, and I think this is the difference between the American players and our foreign players that seem to be dominating the league. Many of them start playing professionally at 13 and 14. So they're playing with grown men. They're developing their game earlier. I mean, when you go back and look at Tony Kukoc and you start looking at Detlef Schrempf and so, I mean, Sabonis, if he had come to the league earlier, it's no telling how good he could have been. I mean, JD probably don't even know who these players are.
I know who Sabonis is.
He knows Sabonis' son, but
I know who Sabonis is. It was good. He was solid. But I mean, not everybody else. I'm not gonna pretend.
That's when the commissioner of the NBA opened the league up to bring all these different players in. And now most international players kind of are dominating the league.
Oh, right. It's not even close. I mean,
if you look at the MVPs over the last 5 years, they've all been foreign players. I mean, it's different, and I think that's where, when you look at ESPN and you look at some of the talk shows, the sports talk shows, I think there's a bias because people don't want to give these foreign players. I mean, I remember when the Greek Freak was coming in, and he was a skinny guy. I mean, but he put in the work. I mean, he put in the work, and he still has some work to do. I mean, he still has areas of his game that needs to improve. But 2-time MVP. I mean, and then you look at somebody like the Joker. Nobody would expect him to be such a dominant player. And Luka, if it's amazing because this is how I view greatness. Who of these players who are what we call generational players right now, if you took them out of today and put them into the game 10 years ago, would they still be dominant? There's a very few that would still be dominant. And those foreign players, they would still be dominant.
Yes. Because they're fundamentally sound.
Correct.
Skilled. Yep. Super skilled.
Got the skills to pay the bill. Right. Very true. JD, what's up with you, man?
I'm just trying. I need a little snack.
What are you eating over there, JD? Let's jump into your world.
Sour Patch Kids.
Oh, really?
Got to pick it up a little bit. Did you guys already talk about what's happening this week with the football and everything?
No, we talked a little bit about football, but what are you going to jump into?
Should we jump into it right away? I mean,
JD, I need to ask you a question. Where does Carr go?
No, I don't want to talk about it. I'm still emotionally scarred. Okay, FD keeps bringing it up to me every time. Where's the Carr going? I don't know.
Let me tell you the truth. I started talking to JD probably around week 9.
Mm-hmm.
I told him at the beginning of the season, before the season started, that this is a big test year for Carr. If he doesn't pan out, he won't be there. And about week 9, I said, this is not looking right now.
Yeah, it ain't looking good. I don't know. There's too much stuff to go around. I got to wait. You know what I mean? He needs to still do his thing. He still needs to, address the media if they're going to let him. But I don't know what's going to happen.
He probably won't be addressing the media until
but I already said it. Let's get rid of him.
What is there to talk about, JD?
What do you mean? There's a lot to talk about. They did him so bad, FD. Come on now.
Did they?
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Come on, FD. Yeah. That's like, man, it's so I get emotional about it because that's my quarterback. But 9 years you give to the organization, and then just like that, I'm like, come on now. At least give him a little something. But I'm at the same time, it's a business at the end of the day, right?
When you're throwing balls and your mechanics is different when it's fast, and you're throwing balls in the air and they're getting in.
I can't defend him on that. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I mean. Last time, 2 years, the 2 times we made the playoffs in the last 20 years is because of him. And then just let him go like that. That's the only part I don't like. I mean, you're going to get rid of him, let him go out on his own terms. Let him play out the season and then let him go. But just to let him walk, literally, they basically released him if you think about it because they activated him.
They deactivated him so he won't get hurt. So he won't pull a Mike Williams out here with the Chargers.
Man, I don't know what they're doing. What
did you see the play on Mike Williams?
No, but I read about it.
He's not going to be playing anymore this year.
Wow. That coach is gone, like you said.
Very high ankle sprain could be more damage in that leg than just an ankle sprain.
That coach is going to be gone, FD. He's gone.
I don't know.
Wasn't the Chargers locked in, FD? Wasn't they locked into the position?
Yeah.
I mean, why is he playing?
Oh, hey, why you run the ball on 4th down? I don't know.
But and you know what makes it worse? They still lost too.
Yeah, still lost. Yeah, but going back to Carr, though, I wish him the best. I think if he worked on his mechanics, I think he could go somewhere and be a very, very good quarterback. He just loses himself in a game sometimes.
I mean, there's a lot we go through this every time we bring it up. There's a lot of things that go into play. It may be him, but at the same time, it's the coaching, and then there's just a lot of things that go into it. So
yeah, it's not totally his fault.
I mean, I give him like a good 30%. I mean, you're throwing picks. I'll give him like a good 30.
What I like about him is that he'll throw a pick with confidence. Like he'll release that ball. Like I know this is going somewhere. Oh man, this is over here now. Yeah.
I think that's what concerns me to some extent about Josh Allen. He has become very careless in the red zone with the ball. And when you get to the playoffs,
you can't.
When you have to score points when you get into the red zone. Even if you don't get a touchdown, you cannot be giving up the ball like he's been. I mean, if you really think about it, had it not been for Hines doing the miraculous returns, I mean, Buffalo could have lost that game.
That's very true.
Well, let's get into it real quick. I want to know what FD already told me, but who you think is gonna go to the Super Bowl and win it all? Who's your favorite right now?
I told FD this earlier. I truly believe if they can keep the energy, I think Buffalo and the 49ers could potentially be in the Super Bowl.
What about you, FD?
I never want to count out Brady. I just don't know if he can get there. I think the 49ers will probably represent the NFC. Purdy, this could be a Cinderella story for him to get the team there and not make mistakes. I don't know who's coming out of the AFC. I mean, it could be Buffalo. Herbert might mess around and get in that mix. I don't know. I don't know about the AFC.
What about your boy Trevor?
You know how I feel about Trevor Lawrence.
Hey, FD, man. I don't know who they playing first game. Oh, they got to play the Chargers. Yeah. I think they got to go to Tennessee, so I don't know.
I mean, he squeaked out to get in. Like, they didn't get into the playoffs because of anything he did.
No, not at all.
I do know some people that thoroughly believe in Trevor Lawrence.
I don't believe in Trevor Lawrence.
But I think the difference is there are people who believe in him because of sports cards, not because.
Oh, that's a good one. What we talking about earlier? FD, what we talking about earlier?
That's the reason why. I was in the card shop the other day, and I had a conversation with somebody about Mac Jones. And I said, when you looked at Mac Jones, the body of his work, there was no reason for his cards to be the price they were. But people got into that, and they talked about the kid who pulled the Black Finance 101 and sold it for $100K, and they said, "Oh, how crazy!" I'm like, look at it now. I think that card's somewhere in the $10K now.
Yeah, he made a great move.
Yeah, And I think that's the thing.
The other day, I think he's 29th in QBR in the league or something, 28th.
Yeah.
Not good. Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that I have to. And I think you mentioned it in one of the other shows you guys had, FD. When people began to talk about players, you find out, hey, do you have any cards in them? Because that changes the perspective of that particular player.
They're wishing. They're hoping, like, man, I hope this guy fans out. No, let's look at the work on the field. Look at the work on the court. No.
Yes. And then it's a popularity. We understand popularity because when I look at it, I know JD loves Shea. I know that. I mean, from that standpoint, he's very, very talented. And even Doc Rivers, I think I saw an interview he had related to when they decided to move him to bring Paul George in, and he was not up with that. He knew the talent that kid had, but again, he's in Oklahoma City, and they have a lot of young talent. But when you go up in the playoffs, the West is tough. I mean, the West is tough. I mean, and so the play-in games. I mean, you can't coast until you have to be winning these games early, because one of the things that and load management, I think is going to ruin a lot of people's careers and going to get some coaches fired because you cannot coast anymore because the teams are so close.
Yes.
And so because they're so close, you have to win. What I always call it, at the beginning of every year in pharmaceutical sales, we always go by quarters, the first quarter, second, and I always tell new workers, I say, you have to put money in the bank in the first quarter because during the summer you just don't make the number of sales. So those numbers have a trend line, and you have to put some games, in the bank,
Yeah.
and not be trying to worry about, okay, we got to win 3 out of the next 4. We need to work 7 out of the next 10. And that's the one thing. If I know the Warriors will get it together, but it kind of concerns me that they play so poorly on the road.
They'll be all right. They do play poorly, but I mean,
they play poorly.
They're coasting. I mean, that's all they're doing. They're just waiting till the season ends. That's all they're doing. But
that could bite you.
I don't think so. I just think once.
Let me just tell you this: I'm a Warriors fan, and I don't sit here and say they're definitely going to win a championship.
Oh, we know who's going to win the championship, though.
I don't say
win.
What's that?
Wow.
We know who's going to win now.
Who?
Brooklyn.
Oh.
Come on, FD.
They playing well. I mean,
they play well right now. And so as some defense, as soon as a hand gets in somebody's face, you don't always say this, JD. You can shoot a jumper like this, or you can shoot a jumper like this. No,
Thursday's a good test because they play Boston on Thursday, so that'll be. That's the best team in the East.
Okay.
So I mean, we'll see. But basketball right now they're just coasting. Unfortunately, it's just other teams that know that they're going to be there at the end of the year. They're just taking their time because why? Like you said, why rush? Why take these games seriously if they don't have to?
Well, one positive thing is that Williams is back for Boston.
Right. Yeah, I mean that helps too.
Have you all noticed how different he looks? How much weight he's lost?
Man,
when you have lower extremity issues, they're going to get your weight down.
And that's what concerns me about Zion. I mean, from the standpoint if they keep it, because low extremities. I mean, that's one of those areas that you're up and down. You're up and down. When you go up and you're 200 pounds versus when you go up and you 280. I mean, that's a big stress on your legs, and I think the NBA is in good hands. That's the one great thing about the NBA. I think there are 2 sports that are in good hands. One of them that we all agree related to basketball, we're all invested in it somehow. But I believe hockey is also in good hands. I mean, if you look at the number of young talent, I don't believe football and baseball are in good hands. I really don't.
We've talked about this. I agree with that. I think football is kind of struggling right now.
Correct.
Relating to the general public, and right now, if you think about basketball brings older players back, tells you the history of the game. Football does not do that.
Nope.
If you don't know who certain people are, you just won't know who they are. You don't see them at games, really.
Nope.
You don't see the commercials.
It's not relatable. That's why. I don't think.
Well, also, if you look at basketball and you look at the bench for teams, typically there are some ex-players who were very good on the bench. So they're still identifying. You look on the football field and you look at the sidelines. Besides the head coach, you really don't know who the rest of these guys are.
Yeah.
But JD, going back to what you said, why do you think it's not relatable to some of these older players in the NFL?
Well, the easiest one for me would be I feel like basketball and football is easy to go play. Like if you really want to go, like all 3 of us, we could go play basketball right now. Enjoy ourselves. Football is really not. You know what I mean? With you and me gonna run routes the whole time, it's not as enjoyable as playing like 3-on-3 or whatever. And then, the whole. I think the NFL does a bad job of marketing the players as well. I mean, let's just be real.
The biggest thing I think of is that you put a helmet on, right?
So that's the biggest thing too.
Then so I got to get that helmet off, and
you got. And then what else? They don't let them be themselves. I think that's the biggest thing. no personality anymore. They don't even let them use custom cleats like they used to do.
No.
And then we don't even need to talk about the celebrations.
You
So
have a preference?
yeah, there's no I can't relate as much to somebody else in the NFL if we're in the NBA. It's easier to relate. It's relatable. And you can't even wear cleats. You know, wear cleats to the field or something, you know what I mean? Is this not relatable how the NBA changed it? And I feel like that's more of maybe LeBron and them doing something about it, being more relatable to us than I don't know. Who's the most relatable football player you guys know right now? Like
Wow, we got to think about it.
that's what I'm saying. And the best player,
I've never even thought about that. I don't know who I can name.
and then the best player, I'm not saying Patrick Mahomes. He's not really out there like that. He's not, what's the word I'm looking for? He's not doing what LeBron's doing, trying to help the league grow, right? So I just feel like the NFL is a little behind. I think baseball is more relatable sometimes.
But if you look at football, like you said, what LeBron is doing and some of the other players, when you look at the NFL, it is a quarterback league.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And many of them don't really want to be involved in off-field stuff. I mean, they make so much money. And a lot of times it is your linemen and your linebackers and your DBs that are really involved in the community that are trying to push it. Kind of look, DeMar Hamlin, I mean, from the standpoint. Those are the players. So they don't really identify with people because nobody really knows them.
Exactly. Yeah. It just goes back to the NFL not giving them the right publicity, right? I mean, when's the last time you've seen an NFL commercial that was like really stood out? The last one I could think about was the just 100-year anniversary, whatever it was, when they had everybody running around the
cake
ballroom. Yeah, that was like probably the coolest thing they ever dropped in a long time. And then NBA just drops commercials.
They brought legends back for that.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it's crazy.
I don't know who that player was.
Oh, I mean, yeah, it's just crazy to me how they all make money, but they don't use it. They don't use it wisely. You know, I just don't think it's there. I don't think they're doing it correctly for neither.
Well, I think that's the reason why, you know, from a standpoint as a collector, I watched the Tony Dorsett's and you know those types of players, and you know even if you think about how good Joe Montana was, and you think about you know Starback and Greasy and you know even Aikman. I mean, when it comes down to it, nobody really wants those players. I mean, you know, and that's why vintage just doesn't excite me. Especially because I'm a raw to grade guy.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't excite me because I know how difficult it is to try to grade a raw card that is more vintage. I mean, I have, you know, a Bear Sanders rookies and some of those type players, but I would never grade them because, you know, I know that they're not going to, they look good just like they're, I'm not going to sell them. I mean, I graded a Serena that got a 7, but that's Serena.
Yeah, that's she's more relatable than the NFL players too.
Yeah, and so when you start thinking about the commercials that I know of NFL players, I know Tom Brady with the Hearst commercial.
Yeah,
I mean I mean,
Subway doing Guinness beer.
Yeah, the Subway commercials, all that stuff.
Yeah, Subway commercials. Yeah,
but I think that's the thing. Football is played on a field, so unlike with basketball, the fans are right there,
right up on it.
So they're pretty much a part of
the game.
Yeah. Whereas in football, they're in the stands, but they're still so far away. They don't really make contact or anything with
you can't feel it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're really into the game, you feel it. But I mean, like an average fan, they wouldn't understand somebody if like us three went to an NFL game watching our favorite players. Like it doesn't connect to them like that too.
So let's talk about DeMar Hamlin. And let's go back to the night of the game. Can we all talk about where we were? Were we watching the game? And how did we receive the news of Hamlin?
I was watching the game, and they broke. They broke, and I was like, "Man, what happened?" And then when I left out, and they were still on the field, and they broke for commercial again. I'm like, "Okay, something this is not the same. There's something, and then they came back and they broke for commercial again, and I was like, okay, this is a serious. I never would have imagined that his heart stopped. Now I have, I just figured it was some. I mean, I saw the hit, and then I saw him fall, and I was like,
typical football hit.
Yeah. I mean, I thought he had a concussion, because you can give yourself a concussion by making a tackle. I mean, from that standpoint.
Yeah.
But the way he fell, I mean, he was out.
Done. Yeah, he was out.
Yeah. When he hit the field, he was out.
When you saw his feet go up, like his toes are pointing straight to the sky.
Yeah.
He's not coherent.
Yeah.
So for me, Junior comes in the room, we're talking, and I look over his shoulder and I see an ambulance on the field. So that's the first indication to me that this is serious. I said, hold on, man, sit down by me. Let's see what happened here. And then I started, because they didn't show the hit on the game. So I started, I got to jump on YouTube to see what it was like. And when I saw him go down, and then I'm still sitting there, they went to commercial a few times and come back, and I started calling a few people.
You called me.
Called JD.
I didn't even know what was going on.
And I said, dude, are you watching this? And I knew, Rev, by the duration of time that this young man has a problem.
Correct.
It's almost like you're in traffic and you're trying to go somewhere and it takes 15 minutes and now you're sitting on the road for 45. Down there, someone has a problem. I felt strongly that he had a serious issue going on. But I have predicted that they tried to revive him twice. No, I couldn't have predicted that, but I knew something very serious was happening, unlike anything I've ever seen. And if you all think about how many games have you watched where an ambulance came on the field?
This year? I mean,
it doesn't happen often.
No,
I feel like this year.
They may bring a wagon out. They may bring a golf out. They may bring something. Today, Mike Williams, they rolled him off on something. I'm talking about the ambulance came.
Yeah.
But I feel like
you don't see that. That was unusual. I mean, and I think that I knew when they said they're going to go to the locker room, it's going to be 5 minutes. Say they're not playing any more football. They're not playing any more football. And regardless of the fact it was in business, I don't know what they decided behind closed doors. They now say they never intended to restart the game. I kind of doubt that was the case. That was just the right thing to say. I think the players just said, look, regardless of what you guys want us to do, we're not going back on the field.
And I always say to people too that you have a web, right? Rev, if I know you, we play together and we're close. I'm gonna meet your parents. I'm gonna know your grandparents. I'm gonna probably know your children if you have some, no matter what their age are. We're gonna go to family events together. I know you. So now when I see you down on the field, and then you got to think about all the players who were looking over shoulders and looking into his face while they're trying to revive him. None of these people are going back to playing football.
No.
Oh man, that your adrenaline just drops right there. You're not even thinking about that. I wouldn't be able to play anymore.
And that's the reason why I'll say this: it pissed me off when people began to try to capitalize on his injury, because I know there are different kind of people in this hobby. I understand that, but here's a young man that really could have lost his life on the football field, and you're more concerned about a card.
Well, RPA of him.
Yeah, but what is that gonna do? Like, what does that do though? Like, you know what I mean?
It will really, at the end of the day, be a short-term move.
Yeah. But what would the buyer do with that though? After what can you do with the card when let's just say he passed? What happened?
There's gonna be a whole bunch of returns.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't understand. Like, how do you capitalize off of that? There's nothing. There's no way. Like, you know what I mean? You said they could return it. eBay's gonna make you return the card. So in what way does that benefit either side at that?
Well, even think about Bill Russell. Bill Russell passed away. His cards with an auto on it jumped up in value, and now they've come way down.
Yeah, like.
But I think Bill Russell and Kobe, they had long careers, and they had some skins on the wall. So I could see people wanting a piece of their of them. I could see that. I mean, I don't own a Kobe autograph. I don't.
Yeah,
I
I don't
own
either.
one Kobe rookie. I have a Topps Kobe rookie. But Kobe was never. And I was kind of funny when I was just collecting. If I didn't like you and I didn't like your vibe, I just didn't buy your cards. I mean,
that's simple as that. Yep, I agree, 100%.
unfortunately, we're in a hobby now that regardless of who the player are, everybody's chasing that dollar. Everybody's chasing that dollar.
Yeah.
And I said this at church today. It's interesting that this young man had a foundation, the M Foundation. And all he was trying to do is raise $2,500.
$25,000. Yep.
To basically give toys to kids. And he could not get people to give to this foundation. But now he was $8 million, which I'm fine. But it shows us that sometimes it takes tragedy
that's the
to
worst
get people
part.
to actually see the benefit. When it comes down to giving to scholarship, my wife and I, we have a scholarship fund at the university that I work with the football players with. And I felt that it's one thing to have the resources, but what are you doing to help that next generation get some of the same opportunities that you have? I mean, not all of us are going to be able to do what Tom Brady and some of those others can drop $100,000, $1 million, a lot. But it's not the how much all the time, but it's not only when you do it. But this is what I share with people. I said, if you're doing it to be recognized,
you're done.
Then you're doing it for the wrong reason.
Because
most successful people who are philanthropic, they don't really do it to be recognized. They have something inside of them that they just give, and they don't want to be recognized for it.
It's true.
I agree. 100%. I agree. But go back to your part of when people start worrying when it's like a tragedy happened, right? At work, I always, because I work at the post office and accidents always happen. I'm just giving you an example. And I always tell people, we always talk about what if. How about it does actually happen? Then when you guys start realizing how important it is to be safe or whatnot. So that's why I always preach, you guys got to be just be in the moment where you're at. Try to be involved and just try to pass down as much knowledge as possible to the next generation, like you were talking about. Because I mean, not a lot of people have money like that, but the one thing you could pass down is knowledge, which will pass on to the next generation, and it will keep the company or whatever the hobby growing more and more if you keep passing it down. There's ways to giving back without giving money, and people need to realize that as well.
It's like with you, JD. When we began to talk about hockey, you really didn't know anything, but because I had put in the work, I didn't have a problem because I want you to enjoy what I'm enjoying and to be able to follow these players and begin to understand, because I watch more hockey now than basketball. So
I haven't got to that point. Ray. I'm sorry. Not yet.
If Minnesota is playing, I'm pretty much tuned in to one of those games because I want to see what Jason Robinson. Yeah, I have an investment in him. I have an investment in Kirill Kaprizov. But I watch a lot of the other players because the game is different than when it was back when Messier and Lindros and some of them. I mean, you didn't see no 7-5 games. I mean, it was hard to watch hockey back then.
Yeah. I agree.
Have you FD, have you seen the comedy skit with Cedric the Entertainer, the Kings of Comedy, when he said that talk about if brothers played hockey, they would be skating, just wait.
That's so crazy. Man.
Very, very true.
So JD, did you ever go watch It's a Wonderful Life?
Yeah, did you ever watch that, man? Did you cheat yourself or did you treat yourself?
No, once I saw black and white, I'm not gonna lie, I turned that off. I couldn't do it. I was like, yo, you guys made me Google this and Amazon. I couldn't watch it at the moment. I have to watch it like later or so.
Well,
Once it's black and white,
what'd you watch over the holidays? You watch like Home Alone 2?
I had no choice. The kids want to watch Home Alone, the Grinch, how the Grinch Stole Christmas, like all that little stuff. I couldn't really watch anything like that. This
But
holiday was like
FD, I went to watch Black Panther by myself. I was the only person, and I did one of the early shows. I was the only one there. Man, it was moving that part.
That movie got me, man. To me, the
beginning was crazy.
If you have suffered any kind of loss, you watch that movie, it will grab you.
They did a good job. They did a good job, especially when we could talk about it anyway. Especially when the mother passed away. That I was like, man, we're going through it again. Like it was this emotional roller coaster.
I think the two tributes to Boseman was
yeah.
It still kills me. It just kills me how that tragic happened. Like it's just crazy to me how it's happened, how it happened, and everything.
Y'all ever see the movie The Four Bloods?
What is that the brothers?
No, that's the Vietnam movie that Spike Lee directed.
No.
Oh wow, you should.
Ooh. Okay, I have to look up that one.
Man, Chadwick Boseman throws down in this.
Man,
y'all saw Ma Rainey's his last performance? Oh wow!
The last one I saw was The Bridges. The last
that one was good. That one was good.
Yeah, Bridges was real nice. Ma Rainey's has a scene where he's talking about his childhood. He's playing a character that's a great musician in a band, and he's talking about his childhood. Y'all gotta check this out, man.
As long as
those two movies, people in my house know I watch those scenes of him over and over and over and over again. He was a talent, man. An amazing thing. I was watching an interview just with Spike Lee. Spike Lee said when he did the Bloods movie with him, he didn't really know he was sick. Now think about a person who's playing the lines, showing up every day, acting, going back to their trailer, struggling probably, and not too many people know around here.
That's why you don't judge anybody. That's why I tell everybody, don't judge anybody.
That's one of the things that being a minister and being a pastor, a lot of times we go to the pulpit with so much weight on us, but when we stand in front of the people, we have to be an encouragement. We have to give hope. Most people don't know, but for a period of about 6 months, when I resigned from my other pastorage, man, I resigned because I was running blood pressures of 197 over 120. I'm talking about a healthy guy who works out and everything, and the stress, but you have to stand and you have to be that face for the people, because one of the things my wife and I talked about, she would tell me, she said, James, if you can't do it, what's hope for us? If you lose hope, you stand before. And sometimes that's how these actors and entertainers are. They become the example, the model, and they have to keep smiling, through all of the things that they're going through. When he passed, man, I was like, wow. Yeah. I just never thought they would be able to make another Black Panther. I really did. I just thought they would never be able to. And I'm hopeful that they don't try to continue the series, because I know they now have the Purple Flower back and everything, but I know it's a business.
You want to speak about Black Panther? As soon as they said he had a son.
Oh yeah, okay.
You want to see more Black Panther? Yeah, they set that thing up in a very organic way. Yeah.
So with everything going on in the future, they're definitely.
And you have new X-Men coming. You got a bunch of stuff
you have to
interact with Black Panther besides the Avengers.
Storm, you throwing Storm in there, like
Storm's coming. There's a bunch of stuff about to go down.
My son and I, every movie comes out, we usually go together. He's got married now, and I understand he and his wife goes to a lot of movies. But he comes out to the house and we talk a lot about that. He talks a lot to me. He's the one that kind of keeps me updated on the Pokemon side. Because you have to, if you're going to be a collector, if you're going to be in the card hobby, let's look at it like that. You have to know different markets.
Exactly.
It's kind of like what I told JD. most people don't realize that every sport has a selling season. Every sport has a selling season, but many people are not in it long enough to realize that trend. And so you have to actually what I call, you have to invest. Like I have this box right here. All of these are hockey PSA 10s.
Whoa, hold on.
Every one of these are hockey PSA 10s. And what I have done is I accumulated them so that when the selling season comes, because what I try to do is I have some cards. I mean, y'all saw the cards I have in mind.
Oh, yeah.
Well, when you are able to use these to get to what you want, because that's what people aren't patient. They don't have the long hold mindset. They have the quick flip mindset, and they don't have strategies. FD, the first time I got on one of your shows, and I was kind of answering questions. One of the questions you had was, "What's your strategy?" You talk about strategy, and most people don't have a strategy. I have a card here that's basically going to be in my collection for a while. It's this Elite Luka blue out of 99 PSA. It's going to be in my collection for a while because I'm not worried about trying to flip it. You know, I think I paid $70 for it, and I'm just going to hold it because I like the player.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's liquid and all of that stuff, but what am I going to try to get? I mean, I'm a Luka guy, so I'm not going to say he's going to be Steph Curry.
Yeah.
No, we're not saying that.
Yeah, you can say that. Just make get him a little mad. But no, I agree.
But there's I've tried to learn more. I started collecting in '89.
Okay.
Damn.
So I've been in the hobby.
I started just a little bit before that.
Yeah, I've been in the hobby for a while, and I started strictly basketball, and then I kind of went. Probably my son he always reminds me that he pulled the biggest card that we've ever pulled together. I bought him and this is crazy. I bought him $100 box. You remember back in the day when the Upper Deck Ultimate just used to have the 4, and I mean, for buy the whole thing was $400. So I bought him one of those as a gift. And he pulls out of 25 LeBron patch rookie auto. I mean, but this is the crazy thing. I told him, hold on to it. Just hold on to it. And he held it until it was time for college, and it paid for the first year of his college.
There you go.
Wow.
I mean,
that's a great story.
He just put it away, and but most people don't have it. And I've heard you talk about it, FD, and heard you, JD, talk about it. These 5-figure cards. 5-figure cards don't happen overnight.
No, they don't.
I mean, I know there's the perceived scarcity that you pull the tiger or the elephant or the zebra, and I mean that's false rarity as far as I'm concerned. But the cards that you really want that are really rare, I personally believe paper is probably going to always be the hardest to grade.
Yes. I agree with that.
Easy.
It's going to be the hardest.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at Connor McDavid's Raw, when it came out, it was $200. A PSA 10 now. I mean, he's been in 2015, so 7 years later, his PSA 10 of that card goes for $3K. I mean, and if he keeps doing what he's doing, I think he has 78 points, and it's not even an all-star break. I mean, he's forecast to have like 169 points and 70 goals. I mean, it's just unbelievable. But a lot of people who don't hold cards long would never reap the benefits.
They won't.
Because then they'll be saying, oh, man, I should have held it.
No, I agree.
These are the things that don't get talked about in the hobby, though.
I agree.
We're talking about buying and selling. The Rev knows, JD knows, people in the comments know. There are some cards that need to be just held on to.
Yeah.
Because of where they're going, every card is not going there. And then there are some cards that you can get raw, grade that you can.
Ooh, that's my favorite move, FD.
Yeah, and I'm learning that.
That's my favorite move. That's my favorite move.
This is one of my favorite Kobe rookies.
Oh, it's a great card.
Ultra.
And it's the medallion version, the gold medallion version.
Yeah.
And a lot of people know I like CSG, but I tell them, there's times to put it in a different slab. I mean, and you just hold on to these cards. I mean, they're not going to go down. I mean, and this is the funny part is because I was always a ripper. I mean, I love opening. I was going through some boxes and found this card sleeved in a box and sent it off. And I think that's the thing that people don't understand. If you love the hobby and don't always put the financials first, you will be able to enjoy your card. I will probably never use a vault.
No,
I never will either.
I like the ability to go and look at my Kirill Kaprizov stuff or my Patty. I pulled this Patty, and I just like that card. It's acetate.
Oh, that's a nice
rookie here. Oh,
it's rookie card. I mean, but I was a Marshall Falk guy, so I still have Marshall Falk SP rookie cards. I mean, but people don't appreciate how good those players were.
No, they don't.
I mean, Marshall Falk was a beast. I mean, he was.
Well, one game he had 200 yards rushing against the Bears and 200 yards receiving.
Yeah, that's just unheard of.
Yeah.
Let me ask this question, FD, because I saw that the Bears lost, and my Texans, that's my team.
Number one pick.
They won, and I'm like, what are y'all doing? What I mean, but do you feel that the Bears trade out of that one, or do you think they try to draft? I mean, they have a quarterback, but what do they do? I know as a Chicago guy.
Yeah, I discussed with a few friends today when I found out they had number one pick. I even hit up JD. We talked about this a little bit. Want to bring it to the show. So I'm a firm believer. I think they're going to trade that pick for various picks. But knowing the Chicago Bears, like I've known them, they'll jack that up. They'll trade for someone. You'll look back and be like, man, they had the number one pick. They could have got so-and-so, so-and-so. Another thing is that I don't believe the Bears, if you look at organizations, they win by ownership on that. Right?
Correct.
To me, as long as the McCaskey family owns the Bears, they'll never win anything. They'll never do anything. I know right now they're looking at building a stadium somewhere, and all their resources and desires and everything is going into that. But we haven't won a Super Bowl since 1985.
Wow.
So if it's a stadium, you still in Soldier Field, I know you're probably trying to get more revenue, and they'll probably try to sell to the public that if we get more revenue and raise ticket prices, then they'll allow us to do this on the field. I just don't believe that. So I'm a firm believer. I text some people today that I know that have been diehard Bear fans since we were kids, that they will mess this situation up. And you got to think, what are they going on, a 10-game losing streak to get this pick?
Yeah. And I
tell this, I'm a Bears fan.
Right.
I'm here for the Bears. They just frustrate me.
Welcome to my life this year. That's how I feel.
I mean, if you look at the Bears, I mean, I guess like you said, when Sweetness and McMahon and all of them were really, I mean, they haven't been able to develop a quarterback. I mean, it's a quarterback league. I mean, Rex Grossman and some of those, I mean, they haven't developed a quarterback. And I think that's what's going to be interesting this offseason. There are going to be a lot of available free agent quarterbacks.
Yeah, there will be.
It will be interesting.
Trubisky will come back up somewhere. He's going to get another shot to do something. Yep. And he's going to get paid to do it.
Yep. And but if you start thinking about it, a lot of quarterbacks take Purdy. Purdy never thought he would be on the field.
Yeah.
There's no way he thought he'd be on the field. But now he got an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's say he takes them to the Super Bowl and win. What do they do with Lance?
I think Trey Lance is out. Some people say I'm wrong, but I think he has a problem on his hands. He's not going to be around that organization, or he's going to be backing up Purdy until Purdy messes up and then maybe he comes back in. But Garoppolo is probably gone.
Oh yeah.
I think Garoppolo will be JD's new favorite quarterback.
Nope, I'm not gonna allow that to happen. I already got the petition signed, ready to go. I refuse that to happen. I do not want to see him.
Stidham didn't look too bad.
Stop. I gotta. Y'all, you guys are just making it worse. Leave me alone.
Who's better, Sid or McCarr? Let's talk about it. Who's better?
I can't believe.
You know the answer to that.
Come on, FD. This dude threw like 3 picks yesterday.
Body of work. He doesn't. I'm just messing with you, man.
I was like, this dude threw 3 picks. Dizzle, come on now. Well, real quick. Hold on. I just want to show Rev my hockey. Hold on. This is my hockey stuff right now.
Wow.
So by the end of the year, the whole thing's gonna get filled.
We talk about it. He makes our moves.
Well, yeah, Rev. I'm still waiting for my checklist.
I'm proud of it. You know, one of the things that I think that people fail to do when thinking about grading, most people don't search out the population reports. I think that's really one of the
about
things
this real quick, please.
Yeah, they really don't understand how pop reports can be beneficial, because just because a card is low pop doesn't mean that it's wanted by somebody. It still has to be a popular brand. Yes. And that's where people fail to realize when it comes to hockey, the young guns are the foundation for hockey. I mean, these are based, I know they're more short printed than typically, but they are the foundation of the hockey market. And there are some better, they're really, you know, I know you may have some other hockey guys in the comments, but for me, what I have learned is Upper Deck Series 1 and 2, OPC Platinum, SP, Authentic, and the Cup. Those are the products that most hockey collectors want to collect. But there are some great cards out there. And so, you know, I'm waiting on one to come back that I picked up, was the Kirill Kaprizov. I think I posted it on IG of the 3D card of his rookie card. And it was only available with a redemption. It was an unannounced redemption. And I've been trying to get one. And when they first came out, they were $700, $800, $900 because they were just so rare to get. And I picked mine up for significantly less than that. And so, but it's about patience. You know, I couldn't get that. And, you know, the other thing about the hockey move is you can rip a lot of product, unlike with baseball and basketball and football, where the boxes are tremendously expensive. There is no way I can see paying a $1,000 for 4 cards. I just can't. And that happens often in basketball.
No, it does.
You know?
Yeah, that's a gamble right there. You might as well just play the lotto or go to the casino at that point. But I want, since you know, FD's learning how to grade and everything, but what are your biggest things you look at? You talk about the population, but when you look at a raw card, this is what I do. I don't know if you do this too. So I'll just whatever. This is an example, right? Whatever, whoever this is, I look at how much the card is, and if it's the PSA 9, whatever the value is at, is it worth grading at that point? You know what I mean? Will I make my profits? And then if it's a PSA 10, is even more worth going to. So that's why I want to ask you, what are your steps when you grade?
Okay. So first of all,
and the Reverend also bring this comment in from Love Let. She asks, Rev, which grading company do you prefer? So you can wrap all that into JD's question.
I'll start with the first one. I prefer, now, if I'm talking return, and I'm going to, like, all of these are PSA.
Yeah.
Every last one of them. And the reason I still use PSA is because that's what the hobby wants.
Yeah, that's king right now. Yeah.
For me, I'm personally going to have all of my this is my grail for my career.
Let me see it. Ooh.
That's that ultimate out of 99 CSG 10 with the 10 autograph. These are by far. Now, I'm not biased because I have SGC, I have PSA, I have, of course, CSG, I have BGS.
Yeah, every day.
So the big four, those are the only ones I ever use. Those are the only ones I ever use. So what I would say to people when they're picking a grading company, you have to ask yourself, what is your intention with the card that you're grading? Mm-hmm. So if your intention is to maximize your return on investment, PSA will maximize your return on investment. There's no argument there. But at the same time, you have to know that the pop reports will impact the return on investment. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. If you think about Luka and his Prism, mass produced, he probably have 18,000 PSA 10.
Oh yeah.
Depend on where you got in. So when I got into my Luka stuff, so my Luka PSA 10 Prism, I'm into it for $35. So even at $400, I'm way ahead. Most people who got into Luka are, when they're getting into these cards, they get into them so high that they can't help but lose money. I mean, it's one of those situations. So what I did, so you can make money with any grading company, any one of them.
Not any though.
Well, the big four. I don't even consider that. I'm just talking about the big four. Yes. So one of the things that I did when PSA shut down, I said, okay, I have all of this stuff of Ohtani. So when I started grading, with SGC. I have some SGC 10s. I have some. And so what I looked at, I went into their pop report to see how many had been graded.
Okay.
And all of the cards that I were going to grade had a pop of 10 or less.
Ooh, that's good.
So at the time I was paying $30. And when they came back, all of the 10, so the first order I had 10 that came, there was 7 SGC 10s and 3 SGC 9.5s. And so I had 10, I had about 330. I sold a lot for $1,200. And the reason you could get that price is because people wanted Ohtani. He was hot and he didn't have a lot of stuff graded. Mm-hmm. And so what you have to do is not only check the pop report, but you have to also be able to calculate the gem rate. Because what happens a lot of times, we have a lot of people who complain about their cards. 98%, 95% of most cards are going to grade 9 or better. No ifs, ands, or buts. I mean, there are some tough grades. Upper deck can be tough. I know it can be tough because it's paper.
Quality. Yeah, quality is horrible.
The quality is terrible. But there's still a way from this. I sent at 42 upper deck. I got 37 PSA 10s. So I know what to look for that card. And so when I get it, I look at it, take a quick glance. I hit JD up with the lighted loop.
And
I'm telling you, it will pick up every. And this is what I try to tell people who are going to grade. I said, if you look at something and you say, "Oh, that's just a little bit,"
nope.
You don't send that card, because if you can see it, guess what? And so you have to figure right now. So when grading was expensive, it was hard to grade, and really grading is going to explode again in 2023 because of price.
I agree.
But there's going to be a lot of people that's going to be dissatisfied because they're not going to get the results they want. So JD, the first thing I do is I look at the surface of cards. So it doesn't matter because you can pick up surface real quick. You put it under light and you turn the front and the back. You can see imperfections. I look at centering. Centering is probably one of the easiest things to see. Corners, if you see a little white with your naked eye, when they put it under 10-time magnification,
it's a wrap. Even the edges,
you don't even need to do it. And so what I do, I have a strategy of making sure the cards I send at least get a 9.
That's the plan.
And I sell off the 9s to actually pay for the submission. And then what I will do.
Yeah, you're talking right now. Go ahead.
And then what I will do is I'll have my grading person, because I don't have time for a lot of the stuff. People say, well, you can send it in yourself. I don't have time. I'll pay the fee to have them send a couple of dollars. And then I'll have them send back all of my PSA 10s. And when it's selling season, so I've already paid for the submission. So that means I'm only in it for the cards that are in these slabs. So when I sell one of these cards, so if I sell one of these for $100, I take $20 off for the card. That's an $80 profit. So what people don't estimate, having an economics background, I understand that. If you can pay for your submission with your 9s,
you're in the green.
And have your 10s sent back to you if you're using a middleman, or if you're doing it yourself. If you can sell your 9s and get your submission, then you can hold the others until whenever you need to do it. So I grade a stuff that is liquid and cards I like. I'm not a huge Trey Young, but I have this because it's a cool looking card.
Revolutions are nice.
Yeah, it's cool. And it's the Chinese New Year. It's color match. And so everything that I have around me here is pure profit. I've already paid for the submissions. So whenever I sell any of this stuff, it's pure profit. And so I just sent off 73 cards. And so when I send them off, I go to consignment. I use PC Sports Cards. There's a lot of consignment people, so use who you want. But they grade them. I mark them saying, I want you to consign these. And once they consign, once I've paid my fees, they send me everything back. I don't have time to do it. I just don't have time to be listing on eBay. I don't have time to be going through the Golden, through the PWCC. I definitely don't have time for Whatnot.
Hell no! I don't have time.
I know a lot of people are big on Whatnot, but this is what I say about if you're going to do this, trying to, whether it's a side hustle or whether you do this for a living, you want your card to be viewed by as many eyes as you can. eBay, with their fees and everything else, all the challenges, is still
the king.
You're the king. It's kind of like PSA. PSA is still the king, even though I personally believe CSG has the best slabs. But I'm not going to fight against what the market wants. Yep. And so you really have to spend time. And what I do also, I look at the cards initially, and I get them ready, and then I set them to the side. I have a stack in there ready for grading. Yep. But when I go back to grade them, I'll look at them again because I may have missed something the first time. So I've looked at cards maybe 2 or 3 times before I decide to send them off. And I'm up to, well, with the upper deck ones, I have a 75% gem rate.
Oh shit.
And so when you know what you're looking for, and so I don't deal in cards that the gem rates are bad. I mean, if I go in and I see that the gem rates for a specific card is 30%, the likelihood is I'm not going to mess around in there because I'm probably going to miss more than I'm going to hit. Yep. And so I have some cards coming back of Gabe Velarde. He's with the LA Kings, and he's having a breakout year. He has a pop 0 on cards, except for the young guns. Of course, he has a lot of those. So when people start looking for cards, and they start looking for, like, one of them, it's a pop 3. I have all 3 of them. So I'll just put one up. They'll bid on it, then put another one up. They'll bid. It's an investment, but it's a strategic play.
Supply and demand.
I typically don't follow what everybody else is doing.
Neither do I.
I know Jay. I know FD. I showed FD when it hadn't come back in, but I have a silver Anthony Edwards of Mosaic coming back.
Oh yeah.
And it has a gem rate of 28%. It is a hard card to gem, but it's a product that people like.
Mm-hmm.
It has a pop of 10. So if he continues to improve, that'll be a card. I'm not trying to collect him. It's an investment. And so you have to have that particular strategy, but use anybody that you want when it comes down to grading, but have a strategy about why you're using them. Because there are some influencers who are going to put SGC. There are some that are going to put CSG, PSA. Now people are pushing this tag. I don't have a reason to use anybody but the big 4.
Yeah, from the bench says here, if you're in grading for profit, it makes 0 sense to use anyone but PSA nowadays.
Well, Beckett's up there too, but you just gotta know what you're doing. Honestly,
yeah, I'm with the Reverend though. To me, the top 4, and then definitely if you got a dynamite card, get it slap.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
You know, if you have a card that has value, let's say you open something and you pull, case in point, in 2023-24, Connor Bedard will be the hottest hockey player on the planet.
Okay.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Look this kid up. He's 17. He will be the #1 pick. And if Chicago doesn't mess it up, he'll be a Blackhawk.
Okay.
And the likelihood is his raw upper deck young gun, if he in Series 1 or Series 2, by the time his stuff comes, it probably go raw for 500.
All right. I'm looking him up right now.
That's how good this kid is. I mean, this kid holds all of the records for the World Juniors already at 17. The World Juniors just finished. I think he had 25 points or something like that. The next closest is about 15. He is going to be generational.
Okay.
Wow. Damn. You hear that?
Yeah, let's look him up. Reverend's knowledge is all on point, right off the dome. Sports card talks. I only use SGC for vintage.
I agree. If I was going to be a vintage collector, the only people I would use is SGC.
Why?
The card just sits better in that tuxedo, and this is, and because I'm in sales and I understand marketing, SGC has had the tux look ever since I can remember.
Yes.
But they've gotten a better promoter of the tux. Mm-hmm. But it's the same slab that it's always, I mean, the plastic's a little better, but overall it's still the SGC. The only difference is it's got a number instead of the 88s or the 92s, but it's still the same look. And so
you got to think about that old slab is holding value because people are not changing that out.
No. It's just like I have a card that someone asked me. I know you probably have some comments. I'm going to find it here. Here it is. So I have this card.
Oh, Tiger.
I will never cross this over to a new slab. The reason is because CSG no longer has a pristine grade.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
And so this card is a pop 6 and there can never be another one. So it will always be a Pop 6 because they don't give pristines anymore. It's either gem mint or perfect.
Hard card to grade.
And so it's a paper card, but what I like the old slab because it's kind of a color match when it comes down to it. And I was talking to one of the CSG persons on IG. They said for those types of card, people want that old slab.
Yeah.
That, because they know there's no other ones. I mean, so it will always be a Pop 6.
Wow.
From the bench says Bedard is ridiculous.
Told y'all there's some people in the comments that know.
Yeah, from the bench.
Guy,
No. Yeah, from the bench. No.
Yeah, this guy is going to be ridiculous.
And we got Level 2 Collect says fully agree with you about the time and strategy of things. But JD, this is a question that I know you probably have an answer to, and the ref. Is Evan Mobley a sell or hold?
Wow.
That's a question.
I think big man in general are a hold. So I think it's a hold. I think what year is he in? Year 2 or 3? 3? What year is he?
2?
2. So generally big men take about 5 to 6 years to develop. So yeah, it's a hold.
Wings. Yeah.
So I think.
Well, I have an optic silver that's going to consignment of PSA 10 of Mobley. He's a sale. I mean,
he's both.
I'm just gonna move it and
Just
move on.
Yeah.
You know, because because you cannot. Now I've fallen in love with some cards. I mean, I think all of us. I think, you know, your play on the Curry, you fell in love with that card. I mean, and that's fine. It did well, but if you're going to do this the right way, you have to know when to get out.
True.
Especially if it's not a player. If it's not a player that you're collecting as a PC. Someone asked me about that Ultimate Correa. I say he's a PC, but you know, I have a price if someone wants it, you know, from that standpoint. But I think the thing is that I still grading raw to grade helped me go into my closet and begin to pull out cards that I had pulled through the years. And there are some cards that I pulled that are from the 90s and from the early 2000s that I'm cool with a 9. A 9 is a great grade. I mean, from the standpoint, people don't realize that not all cards are PSA 10s. And so you have to know. I was looking at a strategy, and they talked about what he talked about is you have to know what is the collector card and the investment card. And the way you do that is when you look at all of the cards that are graded, you look and see where the most number. So let's say it's PSA 8, and PSA 8 is basically about raw price. But then when you get to the PSA 9, the price jumps big.
Yeah.
Case in point with the Curry Topps rookie. PSA 8 is basically a collector's card. Because when you get to the PSA 9, it goes to 1900.
Yeah.
And when you go to the PSA 10, so where do you make the money? Well, you make the money on the 9s and 10s. But if you want to collect for your own personal collection, just buy the 8. Sure. You know, and most people don't want to have an 8 in their collection. But there are some cards that having an 8 in your collection is okay. Because like I do, I have PMGs, and most of the people who know about PMGs, they know PMGs are not easy to grade. So I have this CSG PMG of Connor McMichael. He's a guy that I believe in, but to get a 9 in a PMG is real difficult.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
It is real. You're not going to see very many 10s in a PMG.
Very true. From the bench says was literally just typing. It'll be a minimum of $500 USD. He also put those stats up with being 2 to 3 years younger than the rest of the players in that team.
From the bench knows what he's talking about, guys.
He comes with it. He comes with it. Colorado Sports News says, "Man, awesome talk, Reverend. Been a little busy and listening in. Cal McCarr, exquisite, were some of my early pickups of him. Before I got to understand, young guns are king."
Yep. See, I personally want, and I don't know when the cup is coming out. I want a Kirill Kaprizov, the cup rookie. But we're talking whenever he comes out, if he comes out, we're probably talking about a 10K card coming out. It is the grail of collections. No, it is not even close. It is the grail of hockey. And so the interesting thing about Kirill, JD, and I know we talked about this, he is not on any auto checklist for 21, 22 products.
Mm-hmm.
So people are wondering whether or not he's even signing for Upper Deck anymore.
Oh, wow.
So I know you have some autographs. I have some autographs of him. If that become the case, his rookie autographs are going to shoot up in value because hey, that's a great card. I know you have a couple, don't you?
Yeah, I'm going to send it later.
Okay.
Yeah.
But hockey to me is affordable to get into. One of the areas of hockey that most people don't think about with Upper Deck. Upper Deck has the EPAC stuff, and the EPAC is a program that it's a digital card that can be converted to a real card, and so it's only for a short period of time. So color wheels and black pack war, you have to trade up. So for like the OPC Platinum Kirill, to get a color wheel, you have to trade 10 base to get one of those. And so when you go on and look at the online, there are still 1,277 base available. So that means there's only the ability of another 120 color wheels can be even made because the program has closed.
Yeah.
That's what you have to look at. You have to do that kind of investing. You have to do that kind of research, but if you're not using the pop reports, and I'm not talking about just because a card, I mean, if you go in and the pop is 2, but there's only 2 cards that's been graded. I mean, that's not what we're talking about. I mean, we're talking about a situation where there's been 1,000 cards graded and there's only 10 PSA 10s. That means that has basically a 1%, a gem rate or something in that range. That's how you have to use pop reports. You have to learn how to look at the trends. You have to look at the graphs, and this is why I have so much hockey graded. It's just like with any sport. So whether it's football, baseball, or basketball, when the player pops off, you have to have those cards in hand to maximize your profit.
Yep.
Because by the time you send it to PSA and you get it back, the likelihood is the prices are going to be down. And so that's a play that you're paying it forward, and you're hoping based on your research that it pays off. And it takes time. I mean, it takes time, and I just put them away, and hopefully down the line it works out. But if it doesn't, I'm spending $15 for a slab, and the card probably is $5. We've all spent $20 worse in a worse way.
True. Christopher King says, Rev, do you collect non-sports cards?
I do a little Pokemon with my my son. He got me into Pokemon. Let me see if I can. I just got my son actually got me into this, and I pulled these 3 cards. So I pulled this, the Blastoise that came back with PSA 10.
Okay.
pulled this Gold Star Umbreon from the celebration, and then Rainbow Charizard. But the reason he got me into sports cards is because he had been collecting. We bought him Team Rocket first editions way back when he was a kid, and he had them under his bed. I didn't even know. And so I got all of his hollows out, and we sent it in, and he sent in and got back a first edition Dark Charizard PSA 10.
Damn.
That's $7K. I mean, it's unbelievable.
I was, man. Yeah.
I was like, wow. And so we pretty much work together. You know, he kind of informs me on what's going on. And I think that helps us still make the connection, you know, from that standpoint. I bought some Marvel when Marvel Metal came out. I didn't grade anything because I didn't think any of them would grade.
Well, yeah.
Metal Universe is very, very difficult. I was surprised I got a 10 for this Spectrum for Metal Universe on Korea. So, you know, I have a little bit in non-sports, but it's not my thing. Okay. I have some comic books that I want to grade because I have the Spider-Man series when, you know, he was going crazy and had the black suit. I have all 6 of those copies. Have them in. I mean, I just have to get around to grading, but I would probably grade those and then put them in a frame and give them to my son because his wall in his office is full of Marvel stuff. So it would be more of a gift to him.
Cool. It's good. It's cool that y'all have that connection when it comes to the hobby.
Yeah, you know, we enjoy time together as father and son. You know, from that standpoint, having been raised just by my mother and my grandmother, I always wanted, if the Lord blessed me with a son, I wanted to be active in his life, so he would know that Dad appreciates it.
That's right. That's what it's all about. My father also grew up, Rev, without his father in his life.
Yeah.
Throughout our childhood, he wanted to be involved in his children's lives. So my brother and I came along. Everything that I was doing, from collecting to playing sports to anything academically to extracurricular activities, him and mom were involved. So I respect it.
Yeah, my son was a power lifter in high school, and he still holds the region record for his weight class, squatting 720.
What did he weigh at the time?
235.
Oh my goodness. JD, that's crazy weight, bro. Yeah. So you take your body weight and you multiply it. That's a crazy weight.
Almost 3 times his weight.
What was he benching at the time as well?
He was benching. He won his region, won a serious region plaque and everything. He went to state, but you know, when he got to state, I mean, the state squatter, he came in 4th because he squatted 770 at there, but the winner was like 810 or something like that.
Well, for his body weight, man, this guy's in a league. I'm what the pack is on right now. Does not squat 770.
Yeah, you know, and the interesting thing. So our daughter was in dance, and when he went to the region championship, so his first meet, he hit all of his weights to make it to region. So he never went to another meet the whole year. He just worked out. And so all of these guys didn't even know who he was when he shows up at regional, and he starts the regional at 600.
Wow.
That's where his first weight was, and he went down and went up, and after he finished, he was laughing, and I got over there and say, he said, well, the people say I need to put some more weight. And the fact of the matter was, he actually won the region with his first squat because nobody else was close to what. And so when, you know, the coolest thing, guys, is when he went to set the record. So his first squat was 600. His second squat was like 640. And I go and I see him putting on all the stuff that I purchased, you know, the weight belt and vest and everything, and I go over there and I say, "Hey, what you getting ready to say?" He said, "Well, I'm getting ready to break the record." That's what he said. He didn't say he was getting ready to try. He said, "I'm getting ready to break the record."
When you lift on that level, like I've never lifted on that level, but I've
Okay.
known people who have put on some serious weight. You know,
Yeah.
you're not getting under that bar guessing. You kind of know what to do.
And so his mom and our daughter was at a dance competition in DeSoto, and I was with him at the White Oak show. And after every lift, I would text her, "Hey, Donovan made the first lift, Donovan." And so when he told me that, my wife sent me a text message and I didn't answer. The last thing I wanted to tell her is that her baby boy is getting ready to put 720 pounds on his shoulder. But what was cool, they announced that he was going for the record and the entire gym was silent.
Oh yeah, they want to respect that. Yeah.
Yeah. And when he went down and he started pushing up, the whole gym was like, push, push, push. I mean, and I think that also helped the adrenaline. And I mean, he went up and got the 3 marks and everything. And it was a proud moment for me to be able to share that with him.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
So what does he do now? What does he still work out?
He still works out. He's not lifting or anything. Well, he still goes to the gym 6 days a week. But he's in IT. He works in IT for a bank. And so he just recently got married in September. Wonderful.
I remember you posting the pictures.
Yeah, wonderful young lady. And so he's happy, and that's fine. And our daughter, she's 25. She's a CPA. Okay. And so you know, I sat down and talked to them when they were deciding what they wanted to do with their lives. And I told them both, have a career that you will always be employable. He's in IT and she's a CPA. They will always have jobs.
True.
Wow.
Very true.
That's good.
Every year your wife leaving that footprint.
That's what we're trying to do. And my wife, I told her I was going to be on with you guys. She said, "Oh, that's the guys y'all you're listening to on Sunday nights." I say, "Yeah, you know." She said, "Well, have you ever met him?" I said, "No, but we're going to meet one day."
Oh, yeah. But tell her we appreciate her as well. It's important.
But JD, I mean, what are your? I mean, well, FD, you asked that earlier. What are your thoughts about the playoffs? How do you think they're really going to play out? I'm not talking about who's going to end up in the Super Bowl, just the playing out of the next basically 6 games.
I think you're going to have some games that's going to get out of control with the court.
Okay.
You're going to have some blowouts early. And I think as you get closer to the Super Bowl, you'll have some pretty tight games. It's probably going to be the best playoffs to watch that we've seen in a long time.
Okay.
And that's but these playoffs, we're in a new era of NFL now. You know, Brady, I'm watching Green Bay's up 16-13. Rodgers is about to end of his run. Brady's almost at the end of his run. Who are the new people that's going to establish themselves? That's what we're going to see here. That's also what we're going to see in the NBA. Are you going to have somebody like Steph, Clay, Draymond get one for the thumb, or is it going to be somebody else building their legacy? But these leagues now are starting to get out of players that were drafted in the 2000s and get modern day football. And then we'll see who is the real. Everybody's been speculating, talking about Herbert, Burrow, Josh Allen. We'll see who is real and who's just out here.
Yeah. I'm excited about watching football. And the thing is, I have a few cards. Football is not my big thing. I mean, I have some Mahomes rookie cards because, he's from White House. That's only about 40 miles from where we live. So, I know about him from that standpoint. But, I'm a Texan fan, and we're terrible. and I almost kicked the Texans to the curb when O'Brien did what he did with D-Hop. I mean, he just gave D-Hop away, and he ruined the team. I mean, pretty much with that one trade, pretty much set them back probably for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Shit. Well, let me tell you who's gonna make the Super Bowl. FD don't like it, but I think Green Bay is gonna make a run. And then
you believe a lot in Rodgers and.
No, I just want to be funny. I think it's gonna be somehow Green Bay and the Cowboys are gonna like do some magic in this year. I have a feeling.
So you're saying they're gonna be in the NFC Championship game against each other?
I don't know. Something crazy is gonna happen. Something crazy. I don't think the Vikings are gonna make any noise.
The Cowboys will be out of the playoffs next week.
Well, we shall see.
And they'll be making a plan to get Dak Prescott out of the starting quarterback.
Exactly.
Now he's next year, JD. Let me tell you, he's going to be in car seat.
But Derek Carr's
he doesn't lose next year. You won't see Dak Prescott anymore.
Is he leaving? Like he's leaving this year, or they don't know yet?
They've run the course, man. They've done. You got how long ago did Troy Aikman? I mean, excuse me, did Tony Romo leave? That's when Dak Prescott took over.
No,
they ran this. At the end of the day, it all starts pointing back to him.
Yeah.
He's an average quarterback, man. Nothing more.
I definitely think he's an average quarterback. I don't think he's that great. But I just think Green Bay is going to make a run, FD. Green Bay, and I'm going to go with the Chiefs, unfortunately.
That's what I'm going for. Cowboys are done. McCarthy done.
We shall see. Who they got to play? They got to play Tampa Bay next week, so we'll see. That's going to be, it's going to be nasty.
That's why they pulled Brady at halftime. We're not pulling Williams with the Chargers.
Man, we shall see. This is gonna be a good one next week. Really good one.
Hey, Rev, you want to drop any knowledge on James Wiseman?
Say what?
James Wiseman. What do you think? Legit.
Hey, I'm good on Wiseman. You know, and I think he's going to be one of those players. And we had this conversation before.
Yep.
The Warriors know how to develop players.
Mm-hmm.
Big men take a little longer to develop.
Yep.
And so I personally, I have a couple of more PSA 10s of Wiseman coming back. I have a Revolution Emerald PSA 10 here that I pulled and graded. I'm not selling anything Wiseman. I'm holding on to him. I believe he's a good hold. Big men just take long. I mean, we look at Giannis now. But
his rookie year, he averaged 5.3 points.
Yeah. Giannis didn't become Giannis until what? 2017, 2018, somewhere in that range. He came into the league in 2013. 5 years. And that's the thing that people fail to realize. They talk about LeBron as the GOAT or MJ as the GOAT. MJ is the best black basketball player, period. I mean, I don't care what nobody else. LeBron has a lot of gifts and a lot of talent. He has a lot of baggage and everything, but he early on, he made the teams he went to better. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I mean, he made, and that's the difference between him and I know JD loved Kyrie, and I know people talk about KD. KD went to a team that pretty much had all of the pieces already in place. The Warriors don't win those two championships without KD.
They don't.
They do not win those two. LeBron probably wins those two championships. But when KD left Golden State, he pretty much put up the numbers, but he's not taking anybody to the championship.
This year they will.
You're gonna be disappointed, just like with these Raiders. You do know that. You set yourself up for disappointment.
I don't know. We'll see. They're playing well. It's only time will tell, but I think they'll be okay.
Did they win today?
Yeah, they won by the buzzer. I think they're second best record in the league right now. So
yeah,
they'll be all right.
So Alex asks the question here: when you say develop, does that word direct to what Aiden has reached?
I don't even think he developed. I don't even think he's fully developed yet.
Aiden is
He don't even want to be there. That don't.
Yeah, I don't even know
The
if
Suns
Aiden
messed
in a
up.
uniform or associated with that organization. There's a lot of other stuff going on besides Aiden actually playing basketball.
Yeah, he don't want to be there. He don't even like the coach.
It's kind of, and I think Aiden. People talk about Chris Paul being a great point guard.
I don't think so. Never
Chris,
thought so.
Chris Paul is average.
Average. I mean, but has been doing it for a long time.
Yes, and that's what made people think he's great. Now, I do believe had he not blown out his hammy, Houston probably would have won. I mean, I do believe that when Harden was putting up the numbers and everything. But you know, when you start looking at players and teams, there are very few players that are in the league that you can say, if they're on my team, I'm a favorite for the championship.
Sure.
They're especially this year. I mean, you know, as good as I believe Golden State is, I can't say that they're going to have one for the thumb this year.
Oh, neither can I. They got to put some work
in. Yeah. I mean, you're getting beat by teams that should not even be in the game. I mean, you know, they talk about the Detroit and the buzzer beater. Detroit shouldn't even be in the game at all. I think they got beat by the Magic.
A Magic last night, and then Clay was supposed to play, and they said he had some swelling in his knee. So they pulled him, and he looked like he was upset on the bench because he wasn't playing.
Yeah.
But they got to keep Clay from himself.
Clay wants to be on the court. It's just like I know JD talked about the Clippers. I mean, I think the Clippers are done. I think the whole load management. I think Kawhi. Nobody is afraid of Kawhi. Him going off, and you know, PG-13. He's a good player, but you know, the Clippers don't scare anybody in the West. I mean, nobody's saying, "Oh, the Clippers have got to face them." I mean. And Ja, as great as he is, I mean, he hadn't won anything. I mean, you know, he act like he has some skins on the wall, and he is an exciting player, no doubt about it. But he is a player that would not have lasted in the league when the bad boys were playing.
No, they were destroyed. They were destroyed.
He would not have been going to the hole like he's going to the hole now. I mean, even the bad boys didn't even respect Jordan when Jordan used to go.
Think about if Mahone or Lambeer or Rodman got their hands on Ja Morant. Game over.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see. I think there's gonna be some players playing right now that in 5 or 6 years you'll see them kind of like taking over the league that we can't even speak to right now.
Right.
I always go back to, I say this over and over again. When LeBron said, I'm taking my talents to South Beach in 2010, nobody was talking about Steph Curry.
Nope.
Nobody. That was only his 4th year in the league, though, FD.
No, that was his 2nd year, sir.
Oh, yeah, he was.
Yeah, 2010, bro.
Yeah.
Nobody's talking about.
You know, Curry came into the league with a lot of baggage. You know, he had the feet issue, ankle issue.
Yep.
You know, and I mean, and so let's be honest. I mean, he worked to get to where he's at. I mean, he put in the work to become the greatest shooter of all time. I mean, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But you know, people say he's setting records that won't be broken. Oh, they'll be broken.
Oh no, I don't think that 3-point will be broken.
The 3-point.
The right person. I don't think it's going to be Trae Young. I don't think it's going to be any.
No, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon.
The right person comes along and they're skillful and they have a work ethic and they're shooting that 3. Yeah, it could happen because he got to think his ramp up. He spent years not really shooting that 3 like that.
Yeah,
but you know who's right next to him though? It's Buddy Hield. That's the closest person close to 3-point is Buddy Hield.
Yeah, I don't think Buddy Hield's going to play that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's nobody that's going to touch that record.
But you know, if you look at it,
Golden State uniform.
Yeah, players come into the league now shooting 3s.
Yeah.
When Curry was in the league, I mean, it was a 2-point game. Right. 3s were very rare. They didn't build the offense around the 3
Now-
pointer.
And I went back on YouTube. They have some highlights from his rookie year. I dig back into the archives. Most of his highlights were not threes.
That's not how the NBA was played.
He was taking the ball to the cup, and he was shooting mid range.
That's not how it was played. But I think in like maybe 20 years, I don't even know, because who knows? The game might change in 20 years. They might go back down to the paint.
Well, it's just like LeBron, though. You got to have somebody that comes out the gate handling business. That's the only reason why he's going to break Kareem's record.
He played like 30 years, though. Come on now.
Yeah, but who's coming out 18 years old, bro, scoring 23 points a game?
Yeah. No, I know. But I'm just saying, like 20 years, 30 years.
Now, we just talk about the ramp up. This young man came out getting after it.
Yeah, but look at MJ.
What's that?
MJ and Kobe and Carl.
Oh, they all went to college, man. This guy.
That's what I'm saying. They didn't play as much as LeBron did, so that's why I don't really give LeBron that much leeway when it comes to that.
It is what it is.
But when Kobe came into the league, I mean, he came out of high school,
but he didn't play.
Wasn't the Kobe that we remember.
Yeah.
I mean, when LeBron came into the league, he was the man.
Yeah.
No, and everybody was coming at him. Paul Pierce has told a story about how he was coming at LeBron. All these vets were coming at him. He was still handling his business.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
No, so I mean, I'm not, he did his thing, but I'm just saying, there's a lot of things that go into play. He never got hurt.
Yeah, but we all know MJ is a GOAT. So it's not, it is what it is.
I don't know he's a GOAT, but I mean, he's up there.
MJ? Michael Jeffrey?
No, he's up there with him, and I think I don't think.
Hold on. He's up there.
He's up there.
What are you talking about up there? Up where?
He's like top 5. Nah, he's top
5.
Top 3.
You can't get to 5 unless you say 1, right?
Nah, he's up there. I'll give him like 1 or 2. Nah, I just don't think LeBron. No, I'm not gonna discredit him. He you know what he did.
Car Talk said don't hit on durability.
No, when I first started, the best ability is availability. So that's the biggest thing that he has on anybody right now. I'm just saying, when you're playing like 50 years after, you better break something.
Well, I mean, Chris Paul is not breaking anything. He's been around.
Well, Chris Paul, man. Oh, that's another thing. The assist record is never going to be being broke anytime soon. Who's
the assist leader?
John Stockton.
I know this.
This is the GOAT. This is the GOAT.
Coop was the bomb.
Yeah.
I was just watching some on Instagram the other day about how rare that card is. You just put up.
Really?
Yeah. What's the pop on that? It has to be low.
Yeah, I haven't even checked it. Once I graded it, I just put it in my collection.
I think it's a hard card to get a PSA 10 in because
these came in cans. They came in cans.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only way you can get this card is that you have to open up these cans, and the cards were in a pack inside the can. And so I've had it. I pulled it, and I just sent it off. I mean, and it's in my collection. I remember
magic fingers, JD. You got that.
I remember Cynthia Cooper.
I don't know about that.
Oh yeah, but this was the card I was talking about too was Thompson. Thompson has a card that's very rare to get a PSA 10 in that same year.
Really?
Oh yeah, and I remember the inaugural season and when they were running all 4 in a row. I remember all that. Some ballers there, JD. So Sports Card Talk says Warriors will come around and shine after All-Star break, and the Lakers will sneak into the play-in and lose pending AD's health. People still talk about AD, huh?
I'm about to lose that bet. Damn. Oh well.
I said under 50 on the games.
He only missed like 5 games. He's all right.
But
this is a rare card. I don't know if you've ever seen this product.
I've never seen that product.
This is a Showdown, first edition Showdown. It's the foil version.
Okay.
I mean, they came into a 1-year product. They are very hard to come by. I pulled it. I just graded it. Now, this card looks cool in a SGC flat.
Yeah.
It looks cool. And that's what I'm about. I like having some of the stuff that is people don't really see, from that standpoint. Frank Thomas doesn't get the credit that he deserved. He's one of the greatest. Big Hurt was a when he came to the plate, you watched it at bat.
Problem.
Yeah.
So Rev, do you ever go to the National?
I've never gone to a National because when I really began to say, okay, I'm going to really get into cards, and the National was going on. They had one in Dallas, but being a bivocational pastor at the time, it was hard. I like being in the pulpit. I like being available to the congregation. But I do plan on getting a national in the next couple of years. I just hope it comes down from Chicago. I know Chicago.
The next three, you got Chicago, then it goes to Cleveland, then it goes back to Chicago.
Yeah, and the thing is that when you go to Chicago, I know there's a lot of people in the central part, and I know Chicago has had it for so long, but when you put it in Chicago, really it eliminates a lot of people from going. I hope it never goes back to Atlantic City. I wouldn't mind seeing it going to the West Coast, but that's likely not.
We already have one. We gonna have one.
Well, y'all have Burbank. I mean, I know the Burbank.
That's our national.
But Dallas Card Show. I mean, I go to that because it's probably the closest right now, and I can get there in a couple of hours and spend a little bit of time there. But when I go to the national, or when I go to these shows, I'm just going to try to just meet people that maybe I have met through the lives or just to talk cards with people, find out. I'm trying to learn about hockey. I mean, about soccer, but
that's too much.
So
much.
I just can't do it. I just can't do it.
Well, the Reverend, I'm gonna try to get to the Dallas show. I want to get there the second half of 2023.
Okay.
So I'll definitely let you know in plenty enough time.
Yeah, because I can take off. I mean, from that standpoint. But
how far is that away from you? How far is Dallas away from you?
An hour and 45 minutes.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. But my daughter lives in Louisville. She just bought her townhouse, so I can go up and stay with her. And then Dallas Card Show is maybe 20 minutes from her house. From that standpoint, so that's a fortunate thing. I could just make it a weekend, and we can kind of just kind of hang out, just talk shop, and go to a couple of places because it's really, I'm 57, and so I know eventually somewhere down the line, I'll retire and be able to do the things I want. I love playing golf, as y'all probably see.
Oh yeah, I'll see you again. Yeah.
But it's something that I enjoy. Sports cards is something I enjoy. And I have never really just been about making money. And I try to help people learn the hobby. Because there are a lot of people that are in this hobby, unfortunately, that mislead people about cards. It's unfortunate that, when you look at the Mac Jones Donruss base card that was selling for $1,000, I say these people are nuts. That card's not going to stay there. I mean, and I understand. I mean, there's a pump and dump factor. I understand that. So I just try to help people understand the hobby. And if they make the decision, I don't want it to be said that they didn't have the knowledge to not do it. That's why I talk about the foundational cards of a hobby. I mean, as much as I dislike the amount of product that Panini puts out, I know Prism and Optic and Select, that's foundational to the hobby. I mean, it is what it is.
True.
But it wouldn't be the cards that I would have for my collection.
That's true.
Reverend, it's been great having you on here.
Hey man, I anytime y'all want me to come on, I love it. You guys are great. I mean, what you do for the hobby, I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Because I know it takes time, it takes investment. You seem to have a great team around you, JD, and you basically have a good chemistry.
We talk all the time too. I think people should know that we catch up on stuff all the time about something that's happening in sports or something that's happening in the house.
He calls me randomly just to make my life miserable.
I call this dude at work. He's at work trying to get after something. I'm like, man, did you see?
My favorite part goes like, so what's gonna happen with Derek Carr? I'm like, I don't know, if they leave me alone. This whole week, you hear about Derek Carr? I was like, no, I don't want to hear about him. He keeps bringing it up, but we talk like every day, like at least like 10-15 minutes a day. Just to
when I first got the email about the Steph Curry card, I hit up JD. I had to walk outside of work. I was hyped. Reverend, I appreciate you saying what you're saying
Yes, I
because
appreciate it.
I tell people all the time when you first start content, or even now that we're involved in the content, it's almost like you're throwing darts into a dark alley. Sometimes you don't even know what people are feeling on the other end when they see you trying to do what you're doing.
Yeah,
you know, it's good. It's good to get feedback, and what I love about having,
this is a sleeper card that most people don't even recognize. I had a guy come talk to me about. He said, "Well, how do I know?" Because I actually have the base, but I have the glossy, and the glossy is most people don't realize the only way you can get the glossy card. There were blasters that they sold back then, and in every blaster there were 2 packs of glossy. You couldn't get them in regular. You had to have them, get them out of blaster, and so there are not a lot of them out there. And so I just like it. It has the Jordan, the Jordan design. And, you know, it's just a cool looking card. And
that card in there, that LeBron card in there, that Kobe card in there. Those are some hard cards. You don't see them.
Yeah, you know, and they're hard to grade. I mean, you know, and I think that's the thing, that if people are going to be successful with grading, they're going to have to probably branch off into the early 2000 cards that probably are going to be more difficult to grade. There are still ways to find clean raw cards. So this is one of my strategies. I don't mind telling. So when I go on eBay looking for cards, if I see a card that I'm interested in, the first thing I do is I look at the store of the seller.
So do I.
Yeah.
If I go in the store and I see a whole bunch of graded cards in their store, I am not buying.
That's right.
Because the likelihood is what they're selling raw, they've already examined.
Yeah, they've been through. And it's the same way in person when you go to a show. Like when I picked up that Steph card, the seller had no graded cards at so I was like, okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you know, but it takes
time. I did ask him. I even asked the question, why did you grade this card? Oh, I don't grade cards. Okay.
Yeah. And that's the question. When you're going to shows, a lot of times people don't even know how to be effective at a show.
Yep.
They're just walking around looking at the slabs and, you know, what have you. But there is a way to benefit by going to shows, buying raw.
Yeah.
But you just got to know what you're doing.
That's right. That's right. From the bench, I think speaks for all of us. He says, "Thank you, Reverend, for coming on tonight."
Hey,
I appreciate it.
I appreciate you. I'll be watching you when you be making your comments, and I've picked up some things from you. And that's the thing about being with you guys, is that I've learned a lot just looking at the comments that people are making. And I say, oh, maybe I need to look into that. I mean, I think it's a beautiful thing when the hobby helps each other, but do it with integrity, because I think that's what is missing. I don't care about, you know, people call it drama when you call out stuff. No, that's not drama. That's just you're being truthful. I mean, if something, you know, I know right now they're talking about backyard breaks, and I don't do those type of breaks. And I told somebody, they hit me up and told me, asked me once, I said, look, I don't know if they're getting loaded boxes, but you really have to be lucky to hit the number of
the odds are not in your favor.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this is how I think about this. It's marketing, right? We talked about marketing stuff.
Right.
And when cars come out, you got to advertise them. So you want your breakers to advertise them.
Yep.
Hey, this product is out. Look what I'm pulling. Look what I'm pulling. So you go out. Then you want those cars to be graded.
Right.
Then you want those cars to be sold on Golden Auction somewhere, or vaulted or sold or talked about. Right. So it's a part of the funnel of what is going on. Right. To me, when I think about it in that way, I see what backyard breaks is doing, what they're doing.
Yeah.
So
you know, they're not my favorite. You know, I don't watch breaks or from that standpoint, but you know, it's a business. I mean, it's a business. I understand the business side of what they're doing, and I wish them well. I wish that some of the other smaller grading companies could be more successful, because I don't wish ill on any company that invests their own capital to try to be successful. The problem becomes when you're investing capital in a time when it's not normal.
That's right.
The hobby was not normal in 20. You and I have been in it for a long time. We know what normal looks like.
Mm-hmm.
In 2021, that was not normal.
And every day that goes by, we're getting back to what we came into.
Yep.
For sure. I got one more comment here. JR says, Happy New Year. Happy New Year, JR. 2023 is here. When you send cars to PSA and they charge you for 3 cars, does that mean because the car's got a high grade? Usually, if you send something in, you're going to pay a certain fee that you've already agreed upon. If they upcharge you, you probably got a better grade. And then you'll receive an email. You'll receive something letting you know that car's got a better grade and what the charge is. Then they'll ask you if it's okay for them to charge you. And then you ride out with that 10 or that 9 or whatever it may be that is on another level.
True story. I know we're getting ready to get off here. Had a friend of mine who bought a Brady Bowman Chrome raw. Just bought it. He said it looked good, and he sent it in express. At the time, it was like 150,
mm-hmm.
and he got a phone call from PSA. And he said when he got the phone call, it shook him up. Mm-hmm. Because they said his grading fee was going to be $2,000. He got a PSA 10. Oh, that's a $20K, $25K card.
Yeah.
And that was the time he said, man, I'm glad I had the resources to make the payment. Mm-hmm. But, I don't bother. If I get upcharged, I know that's a good thing.
Oh, yeah.
But I just don't like the randomness of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because I know I've gotten cards back that I know are worth more than what I sent him in. And
I talked to JD about this. Yeah. I asked him in a submission with the Curry Bowman that I got a good grade on. They didn't charge me more.
Yeah. It's random. But let me tell you what I think it is, though. I personally believe the higher the volume of the card, the more likely you are to get upcharged. So if it's a card that is it moves a lot, there's a lot of sales on a regular basis, they then can say, okay, there is a group of sales. Mm-hmm. Your card, that's probably very few, if any.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
And so they are just basically going to say, well, we can't really say it's worth that because we can't find any sales data on it. So we have to go with what. Now, if a few of those cards begin to sell, now mm-hmm. they have the sales data that they can use to do the upcharges. That's why it's always good to look at the pop report, because you can find some jewels and make a lot of money, doing it. That's because right. They can't just say, well, I know this card is worth $500, even though I don't see 500 nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
They just
can't. What's funny is before I started sending cards in, you never hear the stories about what I got back they didn't charge me for.
Yeah, no.
But it's out
there. Yeah, and it's grading has a lot more positives than negatives. I don't get into the arguments with people about which is better. I know how to use all four, the big four, to my advantage. I know how to use them. And that's what once you learn how to use each of them. And I don't think people say, well, SGC this or CSG this or PSA this. If you learn how to use them to your advantage, you're going to profit. The key for me for grading is the buy-in cost.
Sure.
So at $12, $15 a card, my risk is very low if I don't get a 10. The likelihood is if I'm going to get a 9, I probably break even now.
Yeah, sure.
But when grading was $50 a card, hey, I was not sending in a whole bunch of stuff because it's your buy-in.
That's right.
And then you start losing money on 9s.
Mm-hmm.
If I can break even on the 9, yeah, sometimes you don't. But more times than not, I sent in 50 Aaron Judge rookie, just base.
Yeah, I remember we were talking about that.
They got 29 PSA 10s and did very well. I just sold them all. I mean, I wasn't really in. I have one Aaron Judge in my collection now.
That's nice.
That's the only one I have in my collection. And so I do have a collection, but I also have an investment side. And so as long as you can understand how you're doing it and what you're doing, the one thing I like about grading to consignment, I have no out-of-pocket costs. Zero. So I send them in, they send them in, they tell me how much I owe, they consign it, I sell off my cards, and then they pay for the submission, and whatever left is over, they just send me a PayPal or send it to me. I don't even have to touch the cards. I mean, and so once you learn how to do that, I mean, yes, you're paying a fee. What do you not pay a fee to do anymore?
That's right. Well, the Reverend, thank you very much, sir. This has been a true pleasure. You know, I've been wanting to have you on for a while. JD has as well. He texted me, said his Wi-Fi went out. So I'm going to speak for him as well. We are privileged to have you on this show, talking to us about the hobby, sharing your story, talking to us about your children, your wife, your son, your daughter. It's all appreciated. We wanted to start this to bring a genuine view to what we felt like we wanted to do when it comes to a live and to talking to different people. And JD and I have already talked about different goals that we have for this year and how we want to take What's the Flavor to another level. And you have already kicked us off this year, helping us get there. We appreciate that, sir.
Hey, man, we appreciate you. I surely appreciate being rolling with FD. You know, and, you know, if there's anything I can do to help you guys keep going forward, hey, you know, hit me up. And if I'm available, if we can just shoot the breeze, if you get interested in, you know, JD's interested in hockey. I'm just sharing what I know from my research and, you know, just trying to help people enjoy the hobby. And that's what I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave you with this and leave those who are still on. Do what you love. Because if you do what you love, you will never have to worry about what other people say. But when you begin to chase the dollar and you don't really love it, it creates a problem when the market began to do this. But every card that I have, I can identify with for some reason. And a lot of people are frustrated and are leaving the hobby because, number one, they really don't like sports. You can't really be in this hobby if you really don't like sports.
Speak on that. Yes, sir.
You know, but then secondly, a lot of them are just chasing the dollar. And it is frustrating when I watch YouTube videos and they're interviewing kids and all they talk about is the hustle. There's nothing wrong with the hustle. You know, they're entrepreneurs and I appreciate that. I appreciate that energy. But if that's the only reason that you're doing this hobby, you're going to burn out. We've been in the hobby for a long time.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. We're still, I see it in your face. You see it in my face. We still enjoy it.
For sure.
You know, yeah. You know, and if you can't have that joy, you know, I used to tell people who complain about the job and I always told them, I said, look, if you dislike your company that much, find another job. Because you're going to spend so much time at that job. Why subject yourself to misery 8 hours every day? Yeah. Find something else. You know, I think it was Zig Ziglar in a book called See You at the Top, and that he said, do what you love and you'll never go to work.
That's absolutely right.
And I look at you and I look at JD, you guys are doing what you love. And so even though you're working, you're not really working. You're loving the hobby.
Yeah, absolutely.
So tell me, April, I said hello, and I hope Junior enjoyed his care package and everything. And you be blessed, my brother. And if there's anything that I can do for you, hey, just let me know.
All right. Blessings to you, brother.
God bless you, man.
Talk to you.